In this video, I will be showing you how to go from basic to pro using Google Sheet under 7 minutes. Let's get started. Today I'm showing you how to make student progress tracker sheets so I can show you some tips and tricks. First, I will create a header with columns that I need like student first name and last name, some skill column to track student progress, the final test column, the review column for me easy catching up on how my student doing, then the evaluation or note so that I can write a detailed report about the student, the need feedback for in case if the student need to have a few words with, and finally the date to the feedback appointment so that everything going to plan. Now that I have all the columns that I need, let's have a few name in it for better example. The sheet now look very bland. It's hard to identify which is which. So to make the header stand out, I will make the header bold. Now it look a bit better, but this is still not how it should look. Let make the header row rotate. You can use the default options, but it's too much for me. I will customize the angle by input how much degree I want. Let's try with 10. Seem nice. But can you notice that the text doesn't fix the column? You can edit the width of each column by dragging it, or you can double-click the column to auto-fix text to column. But even more easy and professional method is to choose all the column, then right-click and choose resize column. This will create a uniformity for all the column, which make it more professional. Let make the header fit perfectly in the center of the cell by using horizontal and vertical line. Now I want to try bigger column width for more clean look. Let's try 120. Nice. Now that I almost done with the basic, I want to change the font next, but if I choose each cells at a time, it will not apply the font for all the sheet. Instead, click here to select all, and then change the font. This will apply the new font for all the sheet. Even now, the sheet still look too basic. Let's bring more color to it. Repeat and select all the sheet. Then go to Format, select alternating color. This will apply to all of the sheet, the many color to choose. You can click each option for a preview, then click Done when you are done selecting. Did you notice the header disappear whenever I scroll down? For say, if there are much more row, it would be hard to track which column is which. So to fix that, we will freeze the header row. There is a little bar below and beside the Select All button, slowly until a little hand show up, then drag the bar down to below which row you want to freeze. Alright, I have shown you some basic method to make the sheet more clean. Now let's add some assessment score for my student. There will be 3 categories, below average, average, and excellent. For easy recognize which score is which, let's try give it a unique color. Average is orange, below average is red, but it seemed like too much repeated work, so watch me how to make it faster. I will select all the range I want to have score. Then go to Insert, then drop down. Now a table show up. You can have your assessment score in here. Press Done when you input all the options. Now you can easily select how much scores your student get with these. But I noticed that this did not have color. Let's head back to the drop-down option. Move your mouse to the drop-down and select the Edit button. Then, in the table on the left side of the options, you can click to choose which color you want for it. A pop-up appear, asking if you want to apply the change to all the drop-down. If you do, click Yes. Alright, this is much better now. You can copy all the drop-down to the row you want. Then, press Delete on the drop-down which you want to remove the selection. Now, let's write an evaluation about our loving student. You can see that the text does not fit inside the cell and disappear every time I input to the cell next to it. To make it wrap inside the cell, simply go to Text Wrapping and select Wrap. Next, I will make all the cells beside the header vertical align in the middle and horizontal align in the left for more unified look. You can see that in the Need Feedback column, we basically only use Yes or No option. So it doesn't make sense when having to input it by hand every time. So, let's make it more functional. Move to the Insert menu, then select Checkbox. Now you just need to check in the checkbox if the student need personal feedback. There are 2 ways for you to duplicate checkboxes to other cells. You can copy the checkbox to other cells or select the range and insert checkbox. Now, let's get into the feedback date. The basic way is to manually adding the day with keyboard. This might seem fast, but actually doesn't. So instead, just need to add a pop-up calendar. I will go to Data, and then Data Validation. Select Add Rule. Then scroll down and select Is Valid Date. This will insert a Google Calendar table. Check in the reject input if you don't want to manually input date anymore from now. You can see how easy and clean it look when input date now. But there a problem. I might forget schedule a feedback date with my student. So I want a reminder pop out every time I check the box. Let's take a step back from the calendar. I will delete the pop-up calendar, so there will not be any error. Now, I want to add a formula that informs me every time. Something like, please select date. To do that, I will use a formula. You can see the formula on the screen. Replace the I cell with the cell you put the checkbox. You can also replace the please select date to anything you want. As you can see, the result returned is false because we did not check the checkbox. When we check the checkbox, it returned the please select date. I want to make when I don't check the checkbox, it will be a blank. Here how I did it. After the please select date, you add a comma. And then double quotation marks, then enter. Alright, next we will bring back the pop-up calendar. Do it normal like how I guide earlier. Now, what I receive is a cell that informs me when I check the checkbox. And when I click into it, a Google Calendar pop out. And when I don't, nothing will show up. Alright, now we go in the freeze the names column for easier view when scrolling the horizontal. Now that you have learned how to go from basic to pro in Google Sheet, check out my other videos on how to utilize even more Google Sheet.